Right, so just a quick update on where we're at with the ducting. Had a couple of hours this afternoon, so I thought I'd try and get started. It's basically like someone's taken 5 different jigsaw puzzles, chucked them all in one box and then said make one picture out of it. Really, they're all, nothing really wants to go where it's going, but we've got the start of this long 8-inch spline here, and it's going to go down this sort of straight down the centre here. You can see it's coming off. Then we've got 6-inch here, 6-inch here. There's a spare 5-inch in it, which would allow something in the centre possibly, and actually also it lines up with the panel saw just in case we ever put it on the centralised system. And then over here, I've shifted this around a bit. These have both moved a little bit. The mortiser's a little bit nearer the door, and this has come further into the room. So I'm going to put a sweep box down there for sweeping into, and then we've got the elbow on here. This is 5-inch again, so this is going to be fully solid plumb. Not going to bother with any flexi because I never move that collection head further backwards or forwards anyway. Really, you'd have to be doing a 10 and about 8 inches long, which, for cabinet work I don't need to. So just push that forward. Means I can get it a little bit tighter to the wall and still just about lock everything off. So that'll work okay. This has got more joints in it than I don't know what, but again, it's reusing what we've got. You can see sort of one of the sweep boxes over there, and then over here we're going to try and run it. I think I'm going to try and run, you see this heating duct that runs across the top I was talking about it before. I think I'm going to try and run tight in front of it maybe. I would like to go at the back of it, but then that stops the heater from being able to put the heat into that bit. So can't put it at the back. I suppose I could put it right at the back on the wall, which is another option, or I could take down those little brackets that are holding up my track saw rails, my versatile rails at the minute. Now I don't really want to put it in front of the cable tray, just because if we ever want to move anything, it's another thing you've got to get out of the way, and there's bound to be some upgrades hopefully in the future, assuming everything comes back good again. So I don't really want to tie myself into a corner where I can't upgrade stuff so easily, because it means taking all the ducting down to get into a cable tray. It's one of the reasons as well that would have been fine on a 6-inch run. That extractor doesn't need an 8-inch duct, but that's going to get replaced soon. So I figured, well, rather than putting it up in 6-inch and then changing it when I get an extractor with an 8-inch inlet instead of a 6-inch, makes more sense to just get something in now that's good enough for later on, and then hopefully, I might possibly even put the extractor in the storeroom and blast through up here somewhere, bring it through, it just keeps it a bit quieter in the workshop, but again, not too sure. But for now, it's kind of future-proofed it to an extent. I've got a branch coming off, like a Y branch coming off here, which is going on. So none of this is screwed up, that's why it's as wonky as hell. It's not going to go in that pissed. But I've just cable tied up. Obviously, trying to put ducting up when you're social distancing and you can't have anyone give you a hand is like an absolute nightmare. So I've kind of been hooking bits up, and I'm not screwing anything together until I've got it all up there, because it's not easy to hold something in place and mark it for length. So I figured what I'd do is I get everything up, get everything dry fitted. I'm going to run that right down to the corner anyway, that 5-inch. And I'm going to put another outlet kind of coming back this way. And again, it means if I reconfigure anything, it's easy. And also, if I do blast through into this other workshop at some point, I can just run the ducting, do a 6-inch core roll through up here, bring the ducting through, and it's another thing that I just ain't got to redo. At the minute, panel saw doesn't go on that extraction anyway. I didn't do it in the last workshop, to be honest, and that's only because we use all the shavings for horse bedding, and it's just on like a real crappy kind of canister back, but to be honest, it works alright. It's not too bad, and it just keeps the dust separate from the MDF and the MFC, so that we're not killing the horses and that with carcinogenic dust, which I'd be in trouble for. So yeah, that's kind of where we're up to with it. So I've got the bit of 3x3, which was a fence post in the garden, but as I can't get any 3x3 from the builders merch because they're all shut, I figured I'd nab that for now, always replace it later, and then we'll see how it goes. That's it. I think it's going to be, this is going to come down here. I don't actually even know if I'm going to need that now, actually thinking about it, because if I'm going to go floor sweep on the floor, I could put a floor sweep there actually, and then that would support the weight of the ducting anyway. Maybe not. Might get rid of that idea. It may be a better idea as well, because it's another thing that's just not in the way, isn't it? But In terms of height, I'm going to bring it out at this, which is the bottom of that duct is 8'6" off the floor, which you can see still about 4 foot from the top of the ceiling height. I think it's about 13 foot, so about 4'6" off the top there. But what that does is that comes in exactly on the underside of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that to that point, I think, and then when I get over there, I'm going to put a little drop down, like a little S-bend, to go down and across, and then come down straight again. But this straight will come across just kind of here, and then when I get to this end, I maybe just kick a 45 down to do whatever I'm going to do. That I don't know what I'm doing there yet, so I can't really plan too much for it because I'm not really too sure it's going to fall. But I think I'm going to probably take off that rack that's holding up the rails, take that little light down over the top of the spindle moulder and run it in that bit of clear space there, and then I'll just put drops going slightly backwards and down so that it makes the, slightly backwards and down, so it sort of makes the pipe naturally want to curve around into the back of the machines rather than having kinks in it and blocking all the time. The other thing I have changed, some of these sections were already together, although barely anything has ended up being a complete take apart really, but you can see the odd blue joints, so that elbow is already on. They're not because they've been cut, but like you can see the odd little bit of blue joints from the old workshop, and some of those were put together with 25mm self tappers, which I've changed for 16mm ones because I use a lot of beech, and anyone who sort of machines up beech regularly, it just goes like a bird's nest. And what I was finding is it was catching up on the 25mm self tappers where they poked through and clogging up regular. So hopefully, doing away with them and putting those little 16mm in, although they poke through a touch, it's a bit less, got less chance of a blockage, because obviously that's a massive pain in the arse to have to move. And I've ordered some straps. It's the only thing I've actually ordered and paid for this is some metal straps. But they haven't turned up, and they were ordered like 2 weeks ago. I've sent an email to the seller to see if they can chase it up for me, but I think just couriers aren't getting stuff out at the minute, are they? So yeah, that's where we're at. We're going to have to change the direction of that end net on there, probably put it straight, or maybe a 45 going upwards or something, don't know. Soon find out. Loop bit there, got a blast gate on that. Going to keep that blast gate on the end, which I'm just not using. So this one here is completely extra, no use for it at all at the minute, but it's going to stay there because 5" covers most things, and I figured if we move something else at some point, might be handy. I'll leave a blast gate on it. It's facing the wrong way, but it's not going to matter because it's only there as a blanking cap really. When I take it, if I'm going to put a new run off of it, I'm going to have to take that off to put a new run on anyway, so that don't matter too much. I'm going to say solid plumb that bit, and I think probably have a couple of kind of swept outlets coming off here, which I can run to the bandsaw. I'd like to have 2, so I can try and get some better extraction on it, because these hammer bandsaws, they've got bottom extraction down there. They haven't got anything around the actual, around the actual blade, and there's not one. I know quite often you get one that comes out kind of here, catches a bit of drop off, but the extraction's actually, it's not too bad, but it's just not, you'd expect it to be better because that's kind of their thing, isn't it really, hammer and fell, they do good extraction on things, but it's not super fantastic, so that can hopefully have a second in there, then a couple of 2 4-inch pipes, or a 5 and a 4, or whatever it works out at. Probably going to have to order some new flexi because most of it is absolutely shagged, to be honest, so probably have to get a bit of that at least, but it's, it's probably turned 1,200-1,300 quid's worth of ducting by reusing all of the old stuff. I've probably spent, by the time I bought a bit of flexi, maybe 150 quid, so if you got the time to chop it all up and use it and cut your hands to bloody pieces whilst trying to do it, it's probably not a bad use of time really at the minute. So that's where we're up to. I'm going to call it quits for the day now. I'm going to take dogs for a walk because, to be honest, I'm just fed up with using metal. I don't like it. So a couple of hours at a time would be all I probably do on this before I get fed up and decide to give up. So that's where we are, and yeah, that's it. Cheers.